Hello and welcome back. It's puzzle time with Sudoku Sleuth, and today we're playing boots. Now, here in the UK, whenever you say the word boots, yeah, it can obviously mean shoes, like you've got there in the thumbnail. But for most people, I suspect they also think of pharmacies because we have this chain of pharmacies, shops. They do a whole bunch of things called boots. That's probably kind of top of mind for just about anyone that would really live in the UK. Now you've got kind of a thumbnail there of Sleuth really eyeing up that boot, looking at it as if thinking, "Yeah, this is the pair I need." And I'm not sure really I've ever looked at a piece of clothing that way. I think Mrs. Sleuth would have loved for me to appreciate clothes as much as Sleuth here does, but I don't know. I've never really sort of been a huge admirer of, I guess, clothing items really. Well, enough of that. Let's take a look at the puzzle that we have in store for today. So we've got Boots by Sujoyku. And once again, I apologize if I am mispronouncing your name. But yeah, I think the fact that there is a J and a Y tells me it is Sujoyku as opposed to Suyoiku. But anyway, it's a relatively straightforward set of rules again. But don't let that fool you, because for the second time today, whilst this is a 1-star difficulty rated puzzle, I mean, the constructor did post it as probably closer to 2 stars. And certainly I'm looking at some of the comments suggesting that maybe that 1-star difficulty rating is a little bit generous and it should be actually a bit tougher. So don't be fooled, and you can see not a lot of clues in the puzzle, a few cages, which hopefully is what we're all about to do today to solve. So we've got normal Sudoku rules apply, so that means place the digits 1 to 9 in every row, in every column, and in every 3x3 box, as outlined by the darker/thicker black lines, without any repeats. We also have killer cages, or digits in a cage do not repeat and sum to the clue in the top left. So for example, this cage here, which you can see outlines by the dashed line, it's telling you that these two cells must sum up to 6 because you've got the digit 6 or the number 6 written here in the top left. So if this was a 2, for example, this would have to be a 4 to make sure that these two cells sum up to 6. That's literally it. That's all the rules we have for today. So if you fancy buying a new pair of shoes, well, boots really, or giving this puzzle a go, link will be in the description down below as usual. And with that said, I'm going to restart the clock and see how I get on. So there aren't that many places where I think we can easily break in. I mean, I can see that some of these cages are forced, like the 6 and the 7. And because we end up with sort of a 1, 2, 3, 4 quadruple in row 6, the 4 and the 3 have to be here, and therefore they cannot be there at the bottom, and we end up with a 1-2 pair. But there really isn't, like I said, a lot. I mean, I can see that there's definitely a 1 in the 8. Some of these bigger cages, I can see that this definitely has a 9. This definitely has an 8, 9. This doesn't even have to have a 9. You could do 5, 6, 7, 8, I believe. Yep, 5 and 8 is 13, 6 and 7 is 13. So it doesn't even need to have a 9. Sorry, I'll be right with you. One moment. Right, sorry about that. And I am back. So I was pointing out this is 1, 2, 3, 4. This is 1, 2. You can see the 6 because the 6 is either made up of 2, 4 or 1, 5. Well, this cell sees both the 1 and 2 from this 1, 2, 3. So this is 4, 5. That's the 1, 2. And then the 7 has like a ton of things. I'll be honest, I'm not spotting much. I mean, okay, here is the first digit in just under 3 minutes. 1, 2 pair. That's a 3. That's not a 3. That's a 1, 2. What I was about to say before I just wrote in this 3 is I'm actually tempted to color. You see, whatever this is, let's say this is a 1, this will be different cell, different digit, because digits in the cage do not repeat, so it'll be purple. And then because this is purple, this is blue. Because this is purple, this is blue. So we can sort of make some progress. And in fact, whatever this cell is, blue, by Sudoku rules, is actually down here, inside the 26 cage, which I think tells us it has to be a 2. Because if I put a 1 down here, that will leave a remainder of 25 in 3 cells. And the maximum I can get to in 3 cells is 24, because it's 7, 8, and 9, that's 24, not 25. So blue is 2, these are not 2, purple is 1, this is now a 2 with 7, 8, 9. I'm not sure I'm going to keep the colors, by the way, but I'll leave it for the moment. 3 you can see is not down here, it is in there. Whatever this digit is, in fact we actually know what it is because that's a 2, that's a 4. I was going to say is now in here. That's a 3-4 pair. That's a 5-6 pair to finish box 8, or at least finish pencil marking box 8. Then we've got 7, 8s, and 9s. A triplet of them in here. To complete the 12 cage, that would be either 3, 4, or 5 to pair up with a 7, 8, 9. So let's think about the 7 now. So the 7 is not, at least this cell is, not 1, 2, or 4. It sees all of them. It can be 3, it can be 5, and it could be 6. Now, if that's 3, that would be 4. If that's 5, that would be 2, which it can't be, and it can't be as well. So that's not 5. If that's 6, that would be 1. We've got a 1-4 pair in here. And it seems like we've got the same trick again. Whatever this cell is, and I'll just, because I don't know if it's necessarily purple, if I color it, let's say yellow, I can see that this is yellow, and you can see whatever this cell is going to be inside the 27 cage, which once again cannot be the 1, because that will get me to 26, and then again 7, 8, 9 doesn't work. So this is 4, this is 1, this is now a 3, there is a 4 inside here, that gets me to 23, so I need 6, 8, and 9. Yeah, that's better. That's not a 4. And these, I mean, I'm not going to fill all of these in, am I? I've got 1 and 3, they're not in here. In fact, I can just write in the 1. I don't know why I didn't do that earlier, and the 4, and the 3. And now we've got 5 and 7 down here. So that's like a ton of digits. I suspect I can probably do the 10 cage now. What do we have in these 3 cells? We need 6, 8, and 9. If it's a 6, it would require a 4, which is not available. So that's not 6, that's 8 or 9. That's 1 or 2. It's not a 1. That's a 2. That's an 8. These are not 8. Maybe it is a 1-star difficulty rated puzzle after all. These are not 8s. That's not an 8, and therefore that's not a 4. I mean, it wasn't a 4 like for a while now. 3, 5 with a 7, 9. You see, I think maybe this is what the puzzle is named after. It's sort of essentially these pairs of boots. And I'm kind of wondering if the same logic could sort of apply on this upside down boot. That essentially, because he can't have in a 28 cage 1 or 2, I think not even 3. So we have 1, 2, and we can have a 4. We could do 4, 7, 8, and 9, but 1, 2, and 3 have to be in there. And I mean, 2 we already knew is in here. 3s. It may be worthwhile just thinking about 1s, 2s, and 3s, just more generically for a second, to see how that helps with that 28 cage. And I think once we sort of break into that box, this is probably sort of the puzzle done. This 4 removes a 4 from here. Yeah, I'm not getting anything here. 1, 2, 3, 4s, 1, 2, 3, 4, all looking at that 12 cage. So that can only be 5 and 7. Essentially, 12 could be done as 5, 7, 8, 4, no 4s, and 9, 3, no 3s. So this is only 5 and 7. 8 cage is also solved. This is 1, 2, 5. Because essentially we've got an 8 cage can be 1, 3, 4 in 3 cells, or 1, 2, 5. And again, it's not 1, 3, 4 because we've got 4s looking at it. So this is a 1, 2, 5. This 2 tells me the 2 is down here. This is 1 or 5. In fact, it's not a 5. It is a 5, 7 staring at it. That's a 1. And this is, and in fact, the 5 can only be in here. That's a 2. That's not a 2. That's a 2. So I've solved the 1 and 2 in here. I just need to think about the 3 now, which is in one of these 3 cells. Anything significant about the 2s? I mean, it gives me a 1 in this box. Not a huge win in my opinion. There's a 1 up here now. Doesn't even rule out 1, 8 from this 9 cage. May come back to that 9 cage in a moment. 2s maybe? No 2s in any of these. 2s in there. No. 5 and 5 places a 5 in here. For a 28 cage, that gets me to 23, so it is 5, 6, 8, and 9. Which I'm just going to whack in here. 5, 6, 8, and 9. That's not a 5. Neither of these are 8s. And we've got 5, 6. That's solved. So that leaves me with 3, 4, and 7 in these 3 cells. That's not a 4. There's a definite 4. In fact, these are not 7s because we've got a 5, 7 pair in here. So that's a 3, 4 pair. That's just a 7. Probably the... Oh, come on, Sleuth. We've got 1, 2. No, hang on. No, we don't. We've got 4s and 2s staring at it. So there's actually still quite a few more options. For a second there, I thought I have 1, 2, 3, and 4, which actually would have just made it impossible to solve. So let's just think about options. This is 1, 8 is an option, 2 is not available, 3 is available but can only be in here, and then 4, 5 is not available. That's literally all the options for a 9 cage. 1, 8 is possible with an 8 in here. 3, 6 has no material impact in there. So 5 gives me the 7 and the 5. The 3, 4 gives me a 3 gone from here. What else? I've kind of done most of the cages at this point, haven't I? And I think almost the question at this point is probably just more Sudoku, unless the boot has more to reveal than I've kind of given it credit for. 7s gives me a 7 down here. It's not even really worthwhile pencil marking just yet. 6, 7, 8, 9. Not great. Sorry, again, I'm going to have to pause a moment. All right, sorry about that. Hopefully last interruption before we could just finish this puzzle. I'm really not sure where to go from here, if I'm honest. What am I missing? I'm just going to double check if I've got any obvious Sudokus to do. Because the answer to that might be absolutely. For example, 1s. No 1s in any of these cells because of these 1s and this one, which gives me a 1, 3 pair, which gives me a 2, a 2. No 2 in here. And this 1 lines up with a 1 kind of in one of these 3 cells. And then tons of options again for 1. So it's not 1s, 2s. Again, I've got another 2 in here, I think. because we've got 4 of them looking into box 4. And I've placed this 2, and I think that's all the 2s. That's all 9 of them. Yep. 3s. Almost. Almost. I mean, I've got a 3, 4 up there because they line up in boxes 8 and 5. So going up into box 2, they have to be on the right-hand side. But the 3 is more specifically, because this can still be a 3. It doesn't even sort of line up in that sense, forcing a 3 in here and this becoming a 5, 7. So again, nearly, but not quite. And then we have, you know, just 2 options for the 3 here in box 6. 4s maybe? Yes, that's a 3-4 pair. Because we've got 4s looking across and then the 3-4 pair looking down here. So that is useful. Anything else about 4s? Kind of. That's a 4. That's 4 eliminating all of these. That's the 3, 4 eliminating this. We've already understood the 1, 3 pair. So essentially it's eliminated from there. That's a 4, that's a 4, and that's not a 4. That's 6, 8, 9 now. That gives me a 3, a 4. So I guess the way forward was a bit more Sudokus. This 1 eliminates all the ones except in here, which gives me this cage. So that's a 6, that's a 3. None of these are 3s anymore. The 3, 4, sorry, the 3s now line up because of this 3. So that forces this to be a 3. That's now a 9. I imagine we're pretty much now kind of about to sort of go extremely quickly now that all the cages are done. I say extremely quickly. Typically, I find that harder Sudokus, I tend to struggle a bit more. We've got a 7 that can only be down here in this column. We need 6. What do we have in here? We need 8 and 9, not solved yet. Another 8, 9, not solved yet. That's a 7. That's an 8, 9 pair that lines up. That's a 6. Neither of these are 6s. These are not solved yet. 8, 9, 8, 9. I need another 8, 9 and a 6, which is not solved. Okay. What else do I know? I need a 4. I'm just going to go back to systematically checking each number. Not really the way that I tend to like solving these sort of puzzles, but I think this puzzle is, in particular, is just forcing me to just scan very methodically. So yeah, 5s I'm not, I mean, there might be something and I'm just missing it. 6s I feel like I've seen all there can be seen. You know, there's 6s in here. 6s in 103 because this is still a 6, 9. 7s, really don't know a lot about 7s. I mean, this in general, there's an 8, 9 and a 5. And again, it's just not a lot to go on. Very nearly like a triple, quadruple. So essentially we have a 1 and 4 potentially, and then a 4th, 5, 7, 8, 9. Now this could be, unfortunately, any of them, but what it can't be is a 4. We already know that the 4 is up here. But it can be essentially 1, 5, 7, 8, or 9. Not brilliant. 1s, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 1 and 5 restricted. 6, I mean 7, 8, 9s. Again, nothing. So that was digging into 5s, digging into 6s, digging into 7s, and then 8s and 9s are just like total unknowns. I've literally got only one of them each. Cages, have I done all I can with them? Right, let's just do a bit of Sudoku and just, I mean, it doesn't sound right the way I'm going to say it, but, hope for the best. So we've got 2, 3, and 4. I have 1 and 5 that are loose. The 1 can't be in here. We knew that already. There's a 1 in there. The fact that this can still be a 5, frustratingly, means that the 6, 7, 8, 9, the loose 6, 7, 8, 9 could be anywhere in that row. 1, 2, 3, 4. Have I made a mistake in any of these? 11 and 17, 28, 12, 8, 9, 6, 6, 7, 10 and 17, yep, 27, 2 and 24, 26, 7, 10, 12. So no, it's just Sudoku and I'm just being extremely slow. Such as, here's a 3, staring at a 4, 3. I'm sure many of you are just screaming at your screens. That's not a 4, that's a 4. Doesn't help me with my 1s, unfortunately, but it does give me a 1, 7 pair, which gives me an 8 and a 7. I'll just take these. This is now 5 and 6. Now to finish this column, actually I can't really. I mean, I still can have 7s in either of these. Okay. This is 5, 6. So essentially I've got a 5, 6, and 8, 9. The 8 can only be in here now. 8 and 9. That gives me a 6 and 9 and 8 and 9 and 8. Not an 8. That's a 6, 9 pair with the 8, 9, with the 5, 6, with the 5, 7. So really the 7 is sort of what's going to help break what's going on in here. In fact, that's not a 9. That's not a 9 either. That's a 5, 8 pair. Again, nearly. That feels like it's just the key word in here today is nearly. 7 in there. This is the only place for a 7 in this column. This is 5, 8, or 9. It's not an 8. It's a 5 or 9. So I need another 5, 9, and a 7. That 7 tells me that's the 7. That's the 5, 9. That gives me a 6, a 5, so I have another 5, 8, 9, and a 6 somewhere in here, which is in there. This is now just 8 or 9 because we've got a 5 in there. That gives me this 5, this 9, which breaks this whole bottom section, I think. Yeah. Does it? Yes, yes, it does. 5, 6, 5, 7, 9, 6. And this 7 looks up. 1, 7, 1. We just know what this is. That's a 9. We need a 5 and 8 in here. That's got to be the 5. That's got to be the 8. That's got to be the 8. And if I've not made any mistakes, that's the 5. No, hang on. There's, oh, yeah. This is it. Yeah, a slightly harder puzzle than 1 star, I think. And again, like, I mean, that's for the second time today, or at least, as I'm scheduling these recordings. Like I said, I tend to struggle when I'm having to mix variants with Sudoku constantly, as opposed to you're sort of cracking the variant, making tons and tons and tons of progress, and then you're just sort of finishing up with relatively simple Sudoku. And instead, what we have here is, like, I'm not going to say very sophisticated, but fairly sophisticated Sudoku to try and actually sort of make some progress. So, the break-in, for example, seeing these 2s, well, the 1s and 2s, realizing that it can't be a 1 to get the 2, and then using that sort of same trick with all of these boots to try and actually get more and more digits. But then you finally get all of these cages down, and then you really have to just work hard with Sudoku to actually get some of these digits. So it's a phenomenal puzzle, Sujoyku. I hope that you guys enjoyed it, and that you enjoyed the video as well, despite, the frustration about the 3 and 4 and just the hunting around for almost like probably what felt like 5 minutes for you guys. And see you back for the next video. Bye-bye for now.